Okay, can everybody see the slides?
Yep.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so I've just done a few slides about the dashboards. Just a bit of an overview, just as a reminder for those of you who haven't seen them before anyway. These are the dashboards you've been provided with access to. So following these slides, I'll do a short demonstration on how they work, and then feel free afterwards to ask any questions or provide us with any feedback at the end of the webinar. So as some of you will know, we were commissioned a number of years ago now to produce a bespoke map and series of dashboards to report risk on National Express coach routes. And the coach routes have been identified on a map in the dashboard using GPS pings recorded on onboard telematics data. We then combine that with Department for Transport collision statistics and locations of collisions. That's called the Stats 19 data, as well as DFT traffic counts to calculate two different measures of risk on the coach network. That's collision density and risk rate. So the first measure is collision density, and it's calculated for each route as the number of collisions per kilometre of road. We also calculate it in the dashboard for collisions using vulnerable road user groups such as pedal cyclists, motorcyclists and pedestrians. These values are then compared against all routes of the same road class within the same highway authority to provide what's called a 100-based collision density index. So I'll show you a bit more in the dashboards later on, but an index value of 50, for example, indicates that the collision density is half the expected value, whilst an index of 200, for example, suggests it's twice the expected value. And an index of 100 indicates that the collision density is in line with segments of the same class within the same authority. We also calculate the risk rate. The risk rate index is calculated for each route as the number of collisions per million kilometres of roads travelled by vehicles. So again, these values are then compared against all routes of the same road class within the same highway authority to do the 100 based index again. And we then group the indices into bandings, which are the bandings you can see on this slide here, and the maps and charts in the dashboards are coloured accordingly. So just finally, before I go on to a demonstration, so useful links and support. So you can access the dashboards through the Esri ArcGIS online portal, and you should have received an email with the link to the national map dashboard. And through the national map, you can then access individual route dashboards. We also have a product demonstration video available. And we've got a pretty comprehensive user guide as well available on the use of the dashboards. So as Paul mentioned, we recently updated the routes in the dashboards and updated using collision data to the end of 2021. And the dashboards are normally updated annually. If you need any help accessing or using the dashboard, we're on hand in the Agilysys team to provide support. You can contact either Paul Eames or myself, and those are our email addresses, and I can provide the slides after this call. Okay.
Sorry, Lindsay, just confirm the data is up to the end of 2022, not 2021.
The collision data isn't. The collision data is the end of 2021.
Ah, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep.
So I meant the collision data. Yeah. Okay. Your route data. Yeah, your route data is. Sorry. Yeah. There's a slight, because we don't get. So the way that it works is DFT, Department for Transport, don't release their collision statistics until the end of September in the year following. So we're expecting to get 2022 collision data at the end of September this year. Yeah, after which time we can then look at doing an update to the collision statistics that are used to calculate the rates that you see in the dashboard. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop sharing that.
A quick question from me to everybody about on the indexing. Was there anybody that didn't quite understand that? I know it's sometimes a difficult thing to necessarily understand about the indexing to 100. Anybody that wants anything else on that?
There is an explanation as well, I think, in the user guide, and there's an information panel on the dashboards themselves as well, so I can show you where that is.
Great, thank you.
Cool. Right, I'm now going to attempt to do a live demo, so bear with me. Okay. Right, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. So when you follow the link that you've been sent, you'll be taken to the main national dashboard, which you can see here. So the dashboard itself is split into 5 different areas, 6 different panels, 5 different panels. So the first one is the map that you can see in the middle there. That's an interactive map showing the routes travelled by National Express coaches. The second area is to the left of the map, and that's the individual routes list. And we use that for selecting individual routes. These are listed alphanumerically. And then to the left of the routes, you've got the route filtering panel, which can be used to limit the list of routes based on specific criteria. So I'll show you a bit more about that later on. Then you've got on the right hand side, there will be charts. So when you click on a route, the charts on the right, those horseshoe charts, will change accordingly to the route that you've clicked. So they're the what we call horseshoe charts there. And then at the bottom, you've got 2 kind of like bar charts, coloured bar charts, that show the collision density and risk rates. So they show the breakdown of the bandings of the risk rates along the whole stretch of the route that you've selected. So I just selected the route A1 there. And if you click back on that, it will then zoom back out to show the whole overall map. So basically the graphs and charts only display information when you've actually selected a route itself. As I said in the slides, these routes are plotted using telematics data from individual coach journeys. So this is data that's been supplied by National Express to us for the purposes of the project. You can do a search in the map on road name. So if I do a search on Horsefair, for example, no, it's not coming up. So I was trying to look for Banbury, but it's not. But you can actually pinpoint an area. So just give me, Steve, give me something that I can search on that's well known.
Has anybody got any suggestions or any routes?
Yeah,
Street.
Or Finchley Road, London. That'd be a good one.
Finchley.
Yeah, Finchley Road. A lot of operators use that road. That's it. Their road, London. Yeah, that's it.
It didn't come up then.
It was there.
There. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
There you go. So you can do a search on a particular location. And if you press the home button, it zooms out to show the whole map again. So there's a number of buttons along the top of the map here. You've got a legend, which shows you the bandings. And then you've also got a layers button here. So you can see in the map, there are two different layers that you can view. So that little eye symbol, you can click on and off accordingly. So you can switch off the risk rate and put on the collision density, but by default, when you go into the map, it will be the other way around. So sorry, it shows collision, so you can see the collision density, which you can switch off, and you can put on risk rate instead. Yeah, there you go. You can also change the base map as well. So there's an option to change the actual base map that's underneath the map to different Ordnance Survey base maps. And then, sorry, what will happen when you click on a route with the mouse pointer is that route will come up in a pop-up. You can view the attributes of the route there. You can also choose a route by clicking on the route number on the left-hand side. So if you click on route A6, the map will then zoom into route A6 there. And then all the charts on the right-hand side will change accordingly to be the metrics for that particular route. So to the left of the map, yeah, there we go. So the filters panel, the route filtering panel here on the left-hand side, will let you filter the route based on the collision density and the risk rate. So when you move the filter, like so, the routes that are actually shown on the map will change. Like that. And then to the right of the map, obviously you've got these horseshoe graphs that show a visual representation of the overall collision density and risk rate for the selected route. So there are 4 for collision density and 3 for risk rate. So the little arrows at the bottom allow you to scroll through to see the indices involving pedal cyclists, motorcyclists and pedestrians. But we don't have a risk rate for pedestrians because there's no reliable measure of pedestrian flow for most of the road network. And that's overall. Okay, so below the map, there's 2 bar charts. So these are a visual summary of the collision density and the risk rate for the whole of the route. Okay, so that's the overall map. That's the national map. So now let's have a look at an individual route dashboard. So if I click on Route A6, and then this little view dashboard link will appear here, and when you click on that, it will take you into the individual route dashboard for Route A6. And again, the dashboard here is split into sections. So you've got the interactive map in the middle. You've got the filters, route filters up at the top there. You've got percentage of journeys and road number. You've got route filters. You've got the route breakdown, the pie charts on the left-hand side, and road segment graphs, so horseshoe graphs again, which again will only populate when you select a particular part, a particular segment on that route. So essentially the map in the middle is the same functionality as the map in the national dashboard, but what you can do is go in and actually select individual segments of the road, and each individual segment has its own collision density index and risk rate index. There are a couple of extra layers on this map. So as well as the collision density and the risk rate, there's also a low bridge layer. This is a change recently. We've been asked to include information about where low bridges are. So if you click on one of those kind of diamond shaped blobs that indicates that there's a low bridge, you can pick up, you should be able to pick up the, yeah, there you go. You should be able to pick up the, that's the route that it's on. That's the bridge reference. So there are some attributes in there about the bridge itself and the bridge height. So you can turn that layer on and off like so. We've also got what's called a journey usage layer. So that's a measure of the percentage. I'll turn that, there you go. So that's a measure of the percentage of recorded times a coach travelled on that segment of road. So the thicker the blue line, the more often that segment of road is used. So let's take that one off and put the collision density back on. And what you also have in here is the national collision density as well. So when you zoom in, you can see all roads, not just the ones travelled by coaches, have got a collision density, a national collision density value, and a national risk rate as well. But we can turn that off. So there's more detailed information in the individual route dashboards. So the horseshoe graphs are on the right hand side are the same as those in the national dashboard, except they will show the results for a specific segment of road rather than the whole road. So if you zoom into the map and pick a specific segment, the horseshoe graphs will change according to that segment. Another one there. There you go. And then at the top right of the, so if you click the home key, it zooms back out so you can see the whole route. And then on the top right hand side, we've got a couple of filters. So the first one is for percentage of journeys. And this filter relates to the number of times a coach was recorded travelling along a particular segment of road, and it's set to 10% initially, as it covers the main routes travelled, but you can type a value directly into there. So you could change that to 30%, and it would change the routes that are selected. Okay. And then the road number filter allows you to filter on one specific road. So you could pick the A112, for example, and then you would just see the risk and the segments for that particular road that are on route A6. It's a multi-filter, so you can pick more than one. So pick several, and then reset it. And then on the left-hand side, there's a couple of pie charts which show the breakdown of the route by collision density and risk rate. And the segments represent the percentage of the route for each level of collision density or risk rate. You can also use these charts as a filter, and hovering over them will give you the values as well. So if you wanted just to filter on the segments of road that had a collision density index over 250, you can click on the pie chart like that, and it will highlight just those segments of road. And then clicking back on it again will restore the pie chart back to show everything. So do it again with the red ones there. Yeah, and the same with the risk rate chart underneath. But to do that, you have to have the risk rate layer switched on, like so. And the pie chart panel is then tabbed with an information panel here, which I mentioned earlier, that tells you a little bit more about how the collision density index is calculated and the risk rate index and what the bands are. And in there is a link to a demo video as well. So yeah, that's a very brief overview of the dashboards. So I'll stop sharing that. Has anybody got any questions?
No, I think just for myself, Lindsay, I think the really good features there for everyone is the journey usage feature. That's a really good tool to use when you're building your route risk assessments to look at that. So you can see which routes your drivers are taking, and you can add in alternative routes onto your route risk assessment based on that information that's been supplied from those dashboards. So again, best practice, try and get in the habit of doing that. And if they're not added to your RRAs, then just add those alternative routes, which is really good. Yep, the bridge data is a new feature this year. So that's some good information there. Again, when you're looking at alternative routes, and those companies that have private hire businesses as well, use that to check your routes if you're doing a private hire somewhere as well. So yeah, it's a good feature there. Yeah, so thank you, Lindsay. It's a very good overview.
Cool. And yeah, I mean, as I said, there's a really detailed user guide as well, which is available. Probably goes into a lot more detail, a lot more explanation of the functions. But if you're stuck at all, you you don't know how to do something, yeah, we're here to lend a hand. So just contact us, contact Paul or myself if it's to do with the functionality.
Yeah, sorry, just to also add, so when the operators, when you're doing your 12 monthly reviews for your RRAs, just take a quick look at your crash map data, see if it's changed. I'm sure it has, the risk density, etc. And then just change the detail in the RRA as well. Just update it as you go along. But again, if you need any help with that, please, yeah, give me a shout. I'm here to assist you guys. Okay.
Cool. Has anybody else got any questions or feedback?
But anyone who's, oh, sorry, I'll wait.
Right, Jenny. Hiya.
Oh yeah, no, great overview. Could I get access, please? And
Yeah.
I think in terms of the route assessments, it's great to have that overview of the bridge data, the collision index, and so forth. But what I'm curious is, from the operator's perspective, is what mitigation they put in for those. And do you include dead route, so running private to and from the depot to their first timing point? Is that included? If not, then it needs to be. But yeah, those are the couple of questions that I had.
Yeah, I can confirm that they're all included. The dead mileage, it's all on the RRAs, which is good. So yeah, they do. Yeah.
Brilliant.